The story of King Janak and Ashtravakra. King Janak was a learned and noble ruler, deeply loved by his people. One night he had a terrifying dream. He saw his kingdom under attack by a rival state. A brutal war erupted, his army was crushed, his soldiers slain, and finally Janak himself was captured. In the dream, he stood trembling before the victorious king, begging for his life. The conquering monarch sneered and said, "I'll spare you just this once. Disappear from my sight. If we see you in my land after sunrise tomorrow, you will die." Terrified, Janak fled from his own city of Mithila into the wilderness. He ran and ran without pause until the night fell. Hunger, thirst, and fear consumed him. Finally, he stumbled upon a poor tribal hut and knocked desperately, begging for food. He'd been running for days and was starving at this point. A kind woman opened the door. She pitied him but refused to let him in, fearing her safety. Instead, she handed him some rice, some lentils, and a small stove so he could cook outside. Janak lit a fire, cooked a humble bowl of steaming khichdi, and placed it on a banana leaf. As he bent down to take his first bite, starving and relieved that there was some food available to him, 2 pigs came rushing towards him, fighting violently between themselves, charged through the clearing. In their tussle, they knocked over the food, his only food that he had had and was desperately starving for, knocked it into the dirt. That was the last straw. King Janak broke down and wept in utter misery. And in that very moment, he woke up from his dream. He was back in his royal bed, surrounded by comfort, fragrance, and safety. Yet his mind was shaken. He began to question which one was real, the dream or this. He's questioning over and over again, was that real or is this real? Is the palace real or was the forest real? Was the misery real or is this comfort real? Which life is true? Both felt very real and feel very real. He announced a great challenge in his court. "Whoever can reveal to me the nature of truth will be greatly rewarded," he said. Many sages and scholars gathered, tried, and failed. Then came Ashtravakra, one of the most astonishing sages in Indian history. Ashtravakra, even before his birth, was very unique. When he was still in his mother's womb, his father would recite Vedic scriptures, and Ashtravakra, unborn, would correct his father's mistakes. His father was offended and cursed him. "So arrogant even before birth," said the father, "then be born deformed in 8 places." And so Ashtravakra entered the world with his body bent at 8 joints, hence his name Ashta, 8, Vakra, bends. When this crooked young sage entered Janak's court, the scholars burst into laughter. But Ashtravakra was unshaken. With a commanding voice, he said, "I had heard Janak's court was filled with the wisest scholars in the whole country, yet all I see here are cobblers and shoemakers." Janak, the king, intrigued, asked, "Sage, why do you insult my learned men so?" Ashtravakra replied, "Because they are judging me by my skin. They see only the leather of the body. True wisdom looks beyond the body, beyond even the mind, to the self that is eternal." Janak bowed to this insight and asked his question. "Tell me, O sage, O wise one, which is true, the life of suffering that was in my dream that I had, or this life of comfort in my palace?" Ashtravakra smiled and said, "Neither is the ultimate truth, neither the dream that ended, and neither the palace life that will also end. Both are not true. The truth is that which never ceases to exist. That is your real self, the eternal witness of all experiences." He continued, "The misery you felt as a beggar, does it exist now?" he asked. "No, sage," answered King Janak. "And your palace, your comfort, did that exist in the dream?" "No, sage," answered King Janak. "Then understand both are passing experiences," said the sage. What is eternal is the self, your consciousness, the soul within, which alone witnesses the rise and the fall of dreams and waking life alike. The wise sage Ashtravakra went on to explain, experiences come and go like colors on a cloth. You see a piece of fabric and call it orange, but the color is only the play of light, an experience created only in the mind. Behind all these changing experiences is the unchanging reality of the self. That, O King, is the eternal truth.